Bethesda Game Studios are unique for their games with deeply interactive worlds and stories. The other thing that makes them stand out is their community. We have a very strong community of people who love their games. So much, in fact, that some people actually create content for their games. These modders and the mods they create help the longevity of each game immensely. With Starfield coming out relatively soon, I'm sure the modders out there have just been licking their chops waiting to get their hands on the new Creation Engine 2. The new game engine that Bethesda Game Studios has upgraded for their next-gen games. With this new game engine, modders will have the ability to create entire solar systems. Usually the sky would be the limit, but I think you guys know where I'm going from here. With access to space celestial objects that have orbital patterns and gravitational fields, space stations, spaceships with flight and combat, it seems like almost anything is possible. Modders, just like past games, will be able to access the Creation Kit to mod on launch. I, for one, am extremely curious to see what they make. I made this video to start a conversation with you guys and speculate a handful of mods I think might be made for Starfield at some point, knowing the Bethesda community. We'll go by percent chance that they will be made. Performance mods and bug patches, I'm sure, will be the first thing to show up. Some legendary mods like New Vegas Anti-Crash and the unofficial Fallout 4 patch have kept my game somehow glued together all these years, even with my hilariously jumbled together mod lists.
This is not supposed to be inside a computer. This is beans inside.
It's not like to help the computer stay cool or anything.
No.
The next group of mods most likely to be made. Actually, we won't talk about these other mods. Third, when Han Solo Simulator is a term to explain the game by its creators, I think Star Wars mods are one of the first choices for content mods other than unique weapons and armor. I feel the obvious starting point there is a lightsaber mod, hopefully with throwing and at least laser bullet reflection. Then maybe someone implements the Force, maybe a couple ship mods like the X-Wing, and who knows, we may all just end up getting to destroy the Death Star someday in Starfield. And with that lightsaber mod being said, I'm actually very curious if there's an equivalent in the game already. They 100% have a shock baton equivalent, but as for deflecting laser bullets with a sword made of light and slicing people in half, I don't know. Obviously, Star Wars is a huge inspiration for these developers. I'm sure the question has come up, but my feeling is that they want to make Starfield, so they can't just have a straight up lightsaber in the game. But if there's a way to make it fit the NASA punk vibe, I'm sure they found it. Next up are survival mods, which are very popular in Fallout 4 and other BGS titles. Modders might re-implement the whole fuel management mechanic that was cut by BGS in the early stages of development, where you could run out of fuel, and if you do, you call for help with a beacon, seeing who shows up to the call. They may even add survival mechanics from Fallout 4, like eating, drinking water, maybe even temperature, considering space is freezing or scorching, depending on where you are. Maybe you can only save from in a bed like Fallout 4. With all that being said, survival mods are usually very customizable. If one mechanic is too harsh or not harsh enough, you can most likely modify them. Next up are settlement mods. First off, seeing this icon makes me sad. The settlement building limit there basically stops you from building too much in one area, which might slow the game down considerably, especially when you reach 30 settlements. Because the game is basically always running or calculating what's happening at all of your settlements in the background, whether it's research projects, resource production, among other things. Some settlements are run at different tick rates depending on the distance from the player, but with a good computer and the right mod, I would hope overbuilding wouldn't be as big as an issue. Also, with sim settlements being such a big part of the Fallout 4 modding community, I feel as though an equivalent game mechanic might already be in the game, where settlers have a more interactive role in actually building settlements depending on how much autonomy you would like them to have. I hope these last couple ideas are even possible. Seamless manual landing and takeoff with no cutscene. I can't imagine it's easy considering they decided putting that in the game would take too many resources away from other areas. Hopefully one of you beautiful modders out there will take on the challenge. One of my biggest fears is that the two different parts of the game, in the ground and in the air, feel like two different games because an immersion-breaking cutscene, but we'll see how it goes once we get our hands on the game. And lastly, I would like to see co-op implemented. Now, co-op, it's a hot topic. It's that way for many reasons. One of them being that players thought 76 was going to be a co-op Fallout, when in reality, it's a Fallout MMO where you basically do your own thing, but you do that next to other people sometimes. Being able to add 1 to 3 people into your world and play through the quests actually together, where you and your friends share the world, the quests, the quest XP, loot, storyline. This is what I wanted, and where the original idea for 76 started as a co-op addition to Fallout 4. It's a damn shame that that idea was never realized, but an interesting mod that gives me hope for Starfield is Skyrim Together Reborn on Nexus. Check it out if you guys want to play co-op Skyrim. Now, that mod literally just came out in September this year. There's a lot more I'd like to discuss on this specific topic of co-op BGS games, but I will make that in a future video. And lastly, I thought this stupid one might sound cool. Instead of using the jetpack and ship to get around, maybe someone merges the two, creates some type of like Iron Man suit where you could fly around in the atmosphere and space. I think that'd be really neat. Like shooting space pirates down in first person with your hands. How insane would that be? How insane would that be in VR if we ever get a hold of that too? Overall, I just wanted to give you guys a brief overview on what I think is most likely coming our way and what I hope may come from the modding scene. There's bound to be every mod under the sun, just like every other BGS game, thanks to our wonderful modding community. Now, these mods may seem like magic, and how they change the game are usually free and come seemingly from the ether, but each mod is a labor of love made by a single modder working out of their own free time, or a small group of them pitching in whenever they can. It's insanely impressive what people can do when they put their mind to it. What mods are you guys excited for? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing and interacting with you guys on here. The more feedback, the better. Whether it's about the game or the video or whatever, any comments or helpful criticism is welcome. I was blown away by the positive response in the last video, so thank you guys. And if you got this far in the video, you're the absolute homie. I appreciate you and hope to see you in the next time. Later.